Good morning, guys. I just wanted to go over a few things with you for today because we just ran a little short on time on class yesterday. So here is your attendance question for the day. I also put an agenda in there for what you guys should be working on. So you guys are going to work on 7.6 skull bone note cards. You also need to make sure that your bone marking practice is finished from last class if you guys didn't finish it. And then working on the Canoptic jar case study if you need to make corrections or finish it or whatever it is. So please make sure that you guys get that done. Again, if you have questions, please send me an email so that we can work through those together. So I wanted to go over this assignment with you guys. So it's the skull note cards assignment. And so you are going to read through this document here. And I just wanted to go over some of the things with you guys. And I'm also going to add the slides that go along with this. So just to give you guys another resource. So what we did is we put together some directions for you guys. So you are eventually going to take a picture of the group of note cards. Don't take individual ones. And submit the picture to Schoology by midnight of day 1 next week. So for you guys, that's Tuesday next week at midnight. So for homework, please create note cards of the following bones of the skull and sutures. Use the link to find the sutures to make the note cards. Again, I will also link the notes, the slides that go along with this so that you guys have another resource to use. But in your anatomy notebook, you have a page of frontal view. Well, you actually have a couple pages, and then you have pages of side view. And so we want you to do one frontal view and then one of the side views. And so what we did is we created a word bank for you guys. So these terms, the ones indented are the bone markings found on the bones above it. Because remember, we said the reason that we talked about general bone markings first is because you guys are going to see them a lot. And so what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the bones of the skull, and then we've provided the specific bone markings that we want you to know for each bone. And so although the website above you will be using has many more bone markings than what is below, these are the only terms you're responsible for knowing. So if you guys ever like using a website or using outside resources, you are going to realize that there are a ton of bone markings out there on all of these different bones, but we limit the ones that you guys are going to be responsible for. And so on these note cards, you will identify the suture lines. And so I would use the side view most of the time for your suture lines. And then the bones of the skull, you guys are going to use a combination depending on which one is better. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. So you're going to identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bones. And then you guys can see the different bone markings that you guys are going to identify within each of those bones. And so here are some hints for the note cards. So you're going to use different colors or color code them. That is my biggest piece of advice. Do not put too many terms on one note card to make it easier to study, and think about how you want to show or label the parts. And so we provided some examples for you guys. So we colored in bone number 1, which is the frontal bone. It's kind of nice that the name goes along with it. And then number 2 is the supraorbital foramen. And so we've colored in those bone markings. So they're 2. And so a foramen is a small hole. And so there are 2 small holes right above the eye sockets that are a part of the frontal bone. And then you can see here down here that we did the frontal bone and the coronal suture. And then down here on this one, we did 1 is the parietal bone, and then 2 is the squamosal suture. So I would tend to use no more than 2 terms per page because we have lots of note cards. But you can then, the nice thing about using 2 terms per note card is that you can show where things are in relation to each other, which is important in your guys' understanding. And remember, don't just make the note cards, but use them. Find a friend in the class and quiz each other on them and have conversations about them. Because the more that you talk about them and the more that you engage with these, the more likely that you are to find success in identifying these throughout the work that we do in this class. It can't be just make the note cards, because then you're not going to remember them. Because that's what something that I did in college is I just made the note cards, and I hoped that was going to be enough to learn it. And I realized that's not how I learn. So the note cards really help, but I also have to be able to have conversations about the material that I'm learning, or else I just don't remember it. And so you guys need to find ways that will help you through this process. And so what works for one of your friends might not work for you, and that's okay. And that's going to happen. And so these are a study tool, and you need to figure out how to make them valuable to you. So maybe it's playing a matching game or whatever it is. There's lots of fun ways to do this. So let me know if you guys have any questions on this. Like I said, I will also post the slides that go along with these bones so that you have more reference points besides the website. So let me know what you guys need. Remember that the picture will be up due Tuesday at midnight. So I'll be able to remind you guys in class next week as well. Let me know if you guys need anything.